Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about sorting Lego. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, so if you remember or if you watch my mock building Ryloth series, I have had a major sorting problem building Legos and building this mock. I've realized I need to do a better job sorting. So what I did off camera was sort a lot of my Legos. I did save some to show you guys exactly how I sort my Legos. So I'm going to pan over to the completed project for the most part. Like I said, I will be sorting some more Legos for you guys to see. But this is what I have done with my mock building station or Lego sorting area. So I'm not a huge fan of this just because it does block these cabinets that I have here. But it is a great way to sort Legos because I can actually see these parts in here. And as you see, they're color coded, but they're also piece coded. And they're actual specific pieces. Now, one thing everybody will say when you are sorting Legos is don't do color. Why? Because you're still gonna end up with a box full of one color trying to figure out what parts are in it. And that was me for a while. And the reason people say don't just do color is because you'll get situations like this where you have green and yellow in one bin, but they're all just regular 1 by X amount. So 1 by long or 1 by short. The reason why I have long and short in one is because I don't have very much green and yellow. That's actually all the green and yellow I have right there. So there's no really makes any sense for me to separate 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 5, all into a bunch of these because I'd only have like 5 or 6 in them each, which just doesn't make sense. So obviously sorting Lego comes down to you as a person. How does your brain work? How do you like finding pieces? And really, what do you think of when you're looking for pieces? For me, I look for the color. That's the first thing, obviously. If you're building a mock, you want certain things to match in color, or if you have a theme for what you're using in that color, that would be why you pick dark bluish gray versus light bluish gray. Well, the next thing is, what am I getting? Am I getting a dark bluish gray 1 by 2 specialty piece, or am I getting some plates? Well, if they're all in one box, there's no way for you to figure that out or find them. So what I do now, and it's a good habit, is do color, which is okay if you have a large collection. If you don't have a large collection of parts, then don't do color because you're gonna have one piece in each of the boxes. You're not gonna use most of your sorting bins properly. You'll wanna do ones like this. For me, I have a bunch of light bluish gray in there, or I have a bunch of dark bluish gray 2 by 8s and 2 by 6s. They're together, I have them there. But if I ever need a 2 by 6, where do I go? Right here. Now, before I would have these same pieces in that dark bluish gray bin right there. And there's just no way I'm going to be sorting through all these pieces while I'm trying to build a mock like Ryloth. So instead of that, we got it sorted. So what I ended up doing is I sorted by color and piece part. As you see, light bluish gray is over here. And then each of them are specific pieces that are, well, easy for me to remember. These are all 1 by 1. So whether it's stud, specialty part, flat 1 by 1, or 1 by 1 pieces like the binocular type pieces, they will all be in there. Anything 1 by 1, anything small is gonna be in there. That's just the way I do it. It's easy for me. I'm looking for that, and that's all my 1 by 1 light bluish gray that I actually need. So it doesn't make sense, again, to split all those parts up into a bunch of bins. Next is gonna be these 2 by 3s. 2 by 3s are very rare for me for some reason in my collection. I mean, all by 3s are. 1 by 3, 2 by 3 are really hard to come by for me. 3 by 3. So I have an own little divider in here, which is something you could do when you're doing this type of sorting, which is nice, is having a divider there. For me, I have that divider there where I have 2 by 3s. Easy for me to find a 2 by 3. And then behind that, I got 2 by 2s along with those 2 by 1 by little elf pieces, I call them, but they're in there. So it's easy for me to find. Now, with that being said, I have almost all of it sorted into these colors now. It took me a whole day, but I did save white. So I have a bunch of white pieces. The reason I save white is because I want to sort it and show you guys on a time lapse and show you exactly how I sort it and where my thinking is when I sort. And then also, so you guys can see what I would do with this layout a little bit differently. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this being on top of that because if I ever need to get to this bin, it's kind of a hassle digging in there to get to those. And these are pieces I'd often use. So as you can see here, I would need to get to those often, which, you know, I may change this later on and I could bring this up higher and not have that issue as much anymore. So Maybe we'll do that later on, but for now, this is much, much better than what I had before, and I'll show exactly what I had before. We have all of my pieces like this, and honestly, guys, this needs to be resorted. As you see that, this was just a hodgepodge of Lego parts, just by color, which is just the worst thing you could do. So we got it organized now by color and piece part, which is probably the best thing you could do. Down here, I have all of my minifigures, which is specifically just to minifigures. As you see here, it used to say brown and dark red and blue. I'm gonna rip those off because this is just gonna be all my minifigure cases. Then in this second row, I have some specific parts that are separated by these little stack bins, which are awesome. You can get them at the Container Store. And I'm actually gonna go through those and sort those at another date. Also, I use these to bring over to my mock table to actually build. So I may just use some of these as empty to fill up with parts and bring it over to the mock table. So I'm not bringing a bunch of stuff out and then putting a bunch of stuff back in the wrong places. And then over here, I have some specialty parts. Again, these are already sorted, but I could sort these further and bring them up top, but they're just some specialty parts. And then there's minifigure parts in these ones. That's why they're down here. So it was really just, again, this is all my brain, and some people's brains work differently, of course. So however you need to sort to find your parts better is how you're gonna do it. However, we have a full new case just like this. And also, guys, I'll put a link in the description if you're wondering where I got these. $20 at Harbor Freight. I didn't want to go and buy anything more than that because personally, I just don't see the investment yet. Later on, probably will upgrade it even further, but for now, this is perfect for me. So I'll put a link in the description for the Harbor Freight sorter right here. It's only $20, and then I have one right now that is waiting to get loaded with some white parts. So let's go over to where we are sorting Lego. So this is exactly how I was sorting our white pieces, guys, and we're gonna get this sorted correctly now. As you see here, imagine you digging through here trying to find a 1x2 flat piece with a handle on it. Oh, I think I found one. Nope, I didn't find one. That's not right. Oh, more 1x2s. Nope, not right. Just mindlessly going through this and looking for pieces that are not there or are just all the way down there, deep down in there. You got to dig and dig and dig to find them. Just not worth it. Wasting your time. Same thing up here. So this all needs to be sorted. And I save white for last because honestly, there's some pieces like this that are, in my opinion, a dime a dozen. Personally, I just throw them out. I don't need to keep these tinted pieces and destroyed, in my opinion, yellow pieces. You can keep these and try and salvage them. I've seen videos on YouTube of putting them in certain things, hydrogen peroxide or bleach or whatever to clear it. I don't know. I don't recommend it personally. I just will go buy them. Some of these are just worth like a nickel or not even. So I just don't see the purpose in doing that personally if I ever need them. Also, I'm not really using white pieces very much. I probably would use them as filler brick or at best a Hothbach. There's just not very many times where I feel like I would be using white pieces. So I rather just get rid of any of them that are really, really tinted. As you can see here, some of these are just destroyed and there's just really no point for me. But if you guys want to try and clear them, there's YouTube videos on how to do that. Again, personally, I'm not that person. I'll just toss them and get new ones. But yeah, I need to go ahead and sort this whole thing of white, and we're gonna get it sorted into these little trays that you saw earlier. Now, these little trays I sort, you'll start to notice in the time lapse of how I sort it, but once I've sorted all these pieces, I will go over exactly how I sorted them before I put them back in here so you guys can see my thinking on where I put my pieces and how I do it. Alrighty guys, all of the white pieces have been sorted, as you see here, and as I was sorting, I really just sort based off size and then part type, like I was saying. So up here, there is 1x1 pieces, like I mentioned before, 1x2 pieces there. As you see here, these are specifically these types of connectors with the like female and male crank, I call them, basically, because these ones have that little notch when you twist them. So those there. Then to the right are the regular ones like that. Over here we have slopes, and then I have in these ones, these are like the wall pieces back then they used to use a lot for Lego City. And then over here, 1x2s, specialty 1x2s, and regular 1x2s. Then we have Technic Plus, I call them, or the Circle Technic pieces. We have some plates, these angled plates like for starships. Over to the right, we have circle or round pieces. Then we have 1x2s, or excuse me, 2x2s and 2x3 bricks. Over here, we have more Technic pieces, and then along with slopes here. So 1x2 slopes, 1x3 slopes, and 2x2 slopes, 2x6 slopes, up to that range. So that's what I have over there. Then we have more plates. These are already full, so those are 1 by anywhere from 3 to 8 white pieces, boom and boom. And I don't mind overflowing into 2 of these. Usually you would put it into a bigger jar like these ones over here. These are just car parts, and these are just plates. I would typically overflow it. However, I have plenty more shelving I could have used, and I really want these in one of those, so that way I can use those first and then go to the next box. So a little bit easier for me. But yeah, fully sorted. I'm gonna get these put into the drawer here. And then after I get them put into the drawer, we're gonna bring it into our Lego room, and we will go ahead and show you how on the front of these, I'm gonna be putting the brick that's in there. So I know what brick's in there, so I don't have to kind of stare through it and trying to figure out what's in there or go through all of them when I'm looking for a part. All I gotta do is just look at the front of the jar, and I'll have a brick on the front of it. That is the exact brick that's in that little box. So I can go ahead and grab it. All right, guys, so we have the entire collection sorted now for the most part. I do have some other pieces, like I said, down there. And then I do have some over here in this little junk drawer, we call it. But nothing that needs to be sorted right away, which is nice. The majority of what we have here is completely sorted, and I'm so happy to be done. Oh man, this is something you're gonna want to do, because when you're done, you're gonna look back and be like, yep, this was worth it. But it's also time consuming, man. I mean, probably this amount of Lego, and I know there's tons of people with way more than this, and this right here probably took me 6 hours to just sort. 6 to 8 hours, I would assume. So yeah, it's not quite fun to do, and a lot of it was, you know, sorted to a degree with, like I said, the color and the size of the piece. So if you just have all of your pieces in a bucket and a hodgepodge, yeah, be ready for some serious hours of work. But like I said, when you're done, and like me being done with this, it's honestly quite amazing. I'm so excited for building more mocks and not having to worry about where pieces are. Now, full disclaimer, full entire disclaimer. I put the pieces on the front of the respective box that they're in, so when I slide it open, I can find them. However, not all of them have it, because some of them are gonna probably change shortly, especially when we break down Ryloth. There's a lot of tan over there and gray. And the tan and gray, most likely, I saved all of these four, and these four, because there's gonna be a lot, and possibly some of this. So that's why I didn't put a piece on front of it. The disclaimer I say though, if you have clear boxes like this and you don't care, you can see through them, or you don't mind opening up shelf after shelf. If you can't, then don't put pieces on the front. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers and some friends of mine that sort their Legos with tape on the front, and then they put the piece on there, or they will put a basic piece that they then put another brick on that piece, so you can interchange the pieces if you ever need to, which is very, very smart. However, I did mine not smart, only because this is temporary. I plan on getting, not near future, but probably in the next year or two, better storage units. Like I said, I got these from Harbor Freight. I want to do acro mills at some point, but for what I had, it was just expensive, and I was willing to save money to go through Harbor Freight. But if you are going to be doing this and you want to play the long game with keeping these for a long period of time, don't do what I did, because what I did is glue. Not Kregel, but glue. I did hot glue, like hot gun glue. It works good for me, but again, you can kind of see some of this stuff, it'll fall off later on anyway. But just be mindful of that, because glue and Legos is kind of like a forbidden no-no. Again, for me personally, I will be changing this not too long from now. I just wanted to get the pieces sorted to this degree. These may be changing, like I said, the next year or two. I also know I don't plan on getting a lot of white pieces. I don't plan on getting a lot of more black pieces that are going to be in these. If I get a large order of 2x2 pieces like this, they won't be put into this. They are going to be put into something like this, because it just doesn't make sense to do that. That's kind of like the Ryloth with tan. I won't be putting too much over here on the Harbor Freight small little cubes. They'll most likely be going on this, and honestly, this is probably just the first one. There'll be another one up top. Be mindful, this is just for me and my brain. The glue works well, because I plan on ever doing more Bricklink orders, putting them in these and not putting them in these. So for you guys, do whatever's best for you. Like I said, everybody's brain works differently, and that's kind of another thing with this whole entire thing, is everybody's mind works differently when building Lego. However is the best efficient way for you to do this is what you'll want to do. I'm just showing you a little inside of what I view and think when I'm building and how I like to organize, and this is it for me. This is going to make building 10 times faster for me, more efficient, faster, and it'll let me know what I need to order quickly. So Bricklink orders will come in before the week's video of Ryloth, not after, and I push to the next week. So that's something I want to get rid of. I don't want to order Bricklink orders and then next thing I know, it hasn't even arrived in time because I didn't know if I had the parts, so I went looking for a couple days. So now I can check, don't got the part, order it immediately. And that's amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for the rest of Ryloth because we are wrapping it up in the next couple of weeks. We also have some more reviews and other videos coming out for you guys. But with that, we'll see you in the next one.